Hello, in this video we are looking at Bhagavad Gita Chapter 2 verse 8. I'll read it first without and then with the text up in front of you. Nahi prapashyami mamapanudyayatshokamutshoshanamindriyanam avapya bhuma vasapatnam riddhang rajyang suranamapi chadipatyam. Here now with the text. Oops, sorry, that's not the one. Here we are. And I've lost the text boxes again. Try and get them back. Okay. Nahi prapashyami mamma panudyad yatshokamutshoshanamindriyanam avapya bhuma vasapatnam riddham rajyang suranam api chadipatyam. So I muffed the first line slightly. I'll do that again. Nahi prapashyami mama panudya jatshokamutshoshanamindriyanam avapya bhuma vasapatnam riddhang rajyang suranam api chadipatyam. Nahi prapashyami, for I do not see. This particle he, it is often used as what you might call a simple emphatic, but it's very often used as the second word in an entire sentence or line or proposition or verse to indicate that it's a consequence of what has gone before. So here, rather like the English conjunction for I do not see, not the preposition for, the conjunction for, slightly old-fashioned, meaning because, for the reason that. So if you look back at 2.7 and everything that's said in 2.7, and 2.8 begins, Nahi prapashyami, for I do not see. So everything I've said in 2.7 is because I do not see. So the nahi has that force. Pashyami, I see, from the root, well, there is the root passion, spash, as we know, is the common root drish, to see, which makes its present tense in pashyami. So here, prapashyami, probably it's the idea of seeing into something, discerning, detecting, finding out. So like I can't see it in the sense that I don't understand it, I don't get it. Nahi prapashyami, I cannot discern, detect, or find. Yet mama shokam apanudyad. So yet that which apanudyad might drive away, mama shokam, my grief. And the shokam is qualified, or as an adjectival phrase, shokam uchoshanam indriyanam, that is having a desiccating effect upon my senses. So in the text, actually, I'm going to separate these two words here. I should have separated them before. So, yet shokam uchoshanam indriyanam nahi prapashyami, I do not see, yet that which apanudyad could drive away, mama shokam, my grief, in other words, describing the grief, uchoshanam indriyanam, um, the which has which is a desiccator, a dryer up of my faculties. It could also be the desiccating grief of my faculties. Is slightly. It doesn't particularly matter. It doesn't really make any difference. It could also be interpreted as the grief and the drying up of the senses, even though there's no cha for that. Probably on balance, um, I would treat it as two things, two separate um, objects of the verb apanudyad. One is shokam, and the other is uchoshanam. The shokam and the uchoshanam indriyanam, the grief and the drying up of the senses. Sorry, text box is gone again. I can't even. Sorry about this. So I do not discern yed what, that which, apanudyad might drive away, mama shokam, my grief, and supply the and uchoshanam indriyanam, the drying up of the senses. This word indriya, it commonly means the senses, as in the five senses or the six, however you count them. But remember, it also has the idea of a faculty, a power. It's actually based on the word Indra, meaning the Lord, something having power, something that gives you power. So it's not just a passive faculty; it's like a power conferring faculty. So we could interpret this as the um, desiccation of the of the of the faculties, the power, not just the senses, but the senses and the powers that go with those senses. This word, you see, it's become yachokam here. In fact, without the sandhi, it's yat shokam. A word ending in a ta followed by the palatal sh becomes a double ch. That's how we get here. Yachokam. That's regular sandhi. And here again, we see the same sandhi phenomenon in the next word. The word shush means to become dry, and drying up is utshoshana, which by sandhi becomes uchoshana. It is, as I mentioned in the notes, both an adjective and a noun, which is the fact that it functions both as an adjective and a noun creates a slight ambiguity in how we parse the sentence. But it doesn't in reality affect the meaning. It could mean this desiccating grief of the senses or grief and desiccation of the senses. Desiccation, sense of just become parched, dried, incapable of action. Avapya, it's from our root ap, meaning to obtain. With the prefix ava, that doesn't appear to alter the meaning here, as so often happens. You can get a prefix. Mostly prefixes have an important effect. These verbal prefixes mostly have an important effect on the meaning of a word when added to the verb root. But sometimes they appear not to have much meaning. Vasati, to dwell, nivasati, to dwell, vishati, to enter, pravishati. There's not really much difference, just as in English there's not much difference in, say, to enter and to enter in. Here, this seems to me to be one of those cases. So, having got ava up, having got, having obtained, bhumav, on earth. So, bhumi, the earth, this is the locative, bhumau, and the bhumau becomes bhumav with an av. Let's just look, see the au without sandhi, where I'm highlighting bhumau, locative, with sandhi, with a following vowel, bhumau asapatnam becomes bhumavasapatnam. Oops, left a superfluous M there. And this means having obtained on earth asapatnam riddham rajyam. Asapatnam means unrivaled, unequaled. Riddham is prosperous. Riddha in stem form is prosperous. Rajyam, kingdom. Now I'll just call up the iPad. There we are. We have Raja, king. In fact, that is the nominative singular form. The stem is actually Rajan. It's it is a consonantal stem, and a consonantal stem ending in an, which commonly happens, makes its nominative singular Raja, and it makes its accusative Rajanam. It makes its a genitive, actually. What happens is because it's the stem, consonantal declension, it's stem plus ah for the genitive. So what happens here, you get the ra, the short a before the n drops off. So of the king is Rajnya, 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 Rajnya. And because the n is now joined to the j, it becomes a nya, and pronounced Rajnya. We make now an abstract noun out of this. What do? We drop off the ending. We apply vriddhi. Well, a is already a vriddhi vowel, so it can't be further strengthened. So we just leave it as it is. And instead of the final syllable, we add a ya. So rajya. And rajya means kingship or dominion, the status of being king. Kingdom, kingship rather than kingdom. There is another word from the same root where you add tra, and we get Raj plus Tra. Now, by Sandhi, that becomes Rashtra. Now, Rashtra, whereas Rajya is the abstract noun, kingship, the status of being king. Rashtra is more the area, one's kingdom. In fact, in modern India, we get Maharashtra, the state of Maharashtra, literally the great kingdom. And the name of the inhabitants, the Mahrattas, and also the name of the language, Marathi, modern Marathi, the language of Maharashtra, is derived from that same word. So instead of Maharashtri, the language is called Marathi. So here, he cannot see what would drive away this grief and desiccation of the senses. Let me call up the text again. Having obtained on earth Asapatnam Riddham Rajyam, an undisputed or unequaled and prosperous kingdom, Apicha, and even Adipatyam Suranam, overlordship of the Suras, which are either gods generally or a category of gods. Now, just as we have from Raja, we have the abstract noun Rajya, meaning kingship. Also, we have the word, sorry, cool up, iPad again, Adhipati. Adhi basically means over, and Pati means a lord. So, in fact, that word is constructed in Sanskrit very much like our English word overlord. So, Adhipati is the overlord, and we can make, as we can with a huge range of nouns, I think in theory it's pretty limitless actually. We can make an abstract noun of it. How? Vridhi of the first vowel, adhi, and instead of the final syllable, change that to ya. So adhipatya. So adhipati, overlord, adhipatya, overlordship, the status of being overlordship. Sorry, the status of being overlord. So nahi prapashyami, for I cannot discern, I cannot detect yet what apanudyad might drive away mama shokam, my grief, uchoshanam indriyanam, the desiccation, the drying up of the senses. Incidentally, this word shosha, the root shush, it's cognate with the Latin siccus, meaning dry, from which we get the same desiccated. So uchoshana and desiccated are virtually etymologically the same. Asapatnam, without a rival. In fact, Asapatnam, in the Karaniya Metta Sutta, by the way, Asapattam, it's the same one, unrivaled, unequaled. I have done a note on Asapatnam, and I will call it up for you. It's in the explanatory glossary, page 63. Okay, here we are. Adhipat, yeah, okay. Um, but Sapatnam Sapatna. So Pati, a word meaning a lord. Um, it's probably from the root pa and then shortened here to the pati, now become pati, the protector. Query whether cognate with the word pita, Latin pater, English father. Maybe not. They might be separate things. We aren't sure. So from pati, we have the feminine form patni, which is. Okay, I found this on the web. For peti, we have the feminine form of me. Check it out. Sorry, I'm getting something superfluous here. Sorry, we had a temporary technical glitch. So the feminine of pati is patni. And we then have a sapatni with a short e, a co-wife. That's a woman who has the same husband as another woman. But then now that back forms into a masculine form, sapatna. Patna doesn't exist on its own, but sapatna does, and it means a co-lord and therefore a rival or an adversary, somebody who's striving to be two or more people striving to be in charge of the same thing, to be lords of the same thing. And therefore, if a person is asapatna, or if he's got an asapatnam rajyam, so asapatnam rajyam would mean unrivaled kingship. In other words, he's recognized as king with no disputes or rivals as to who should be the king. And this is Asapatna becomes Asapatta in Pali, and that's where you get in the here I've done it in the Karanya Metta Sutta. Uddham Adhocha Tiryancha Asambadhang Averang Asapattam. Here it's describing the metta, the asambadham, the unrestricted, with no hostility, averam asapattam, either without rivalry or unequaled. It can have both meanings, both in Pali and in Sanskrit. So back to our text. One point I'll make on this apanudyad, apanudyat without the sandhi is apanudyad because of the following yat. And then changes apanudyat without sandhi. So nud, the root nud means to drive away. In fact, I've done a note on it at 58. Bear with me when I find it. So the root nud, to drive away. Originally, it also meant give a small movement to something. In fact, our English word nod and nudge both seem to come from that same Proto-Indo-European root, give a little push. In Sanskrit, it has more the meaning of expelling something. And in fact, in modern India, you have the name Vinod, that which drives out, because the idea of the Vinoda in Sanskrit, Vinod in modern Hindi and the other languages of northern India, because it's something that drives away, expels grief and sorrow. So apanud also has the same kind of meaning, apa, off, away. It's actually a class 6 verb, nudati. It's I don't quite understand why here. Why it's got the ending apanudyat. I would expect to see apanudet, the optative bhavet, apanudet. I can't see what I haven't been able to find out yet what the justification is for the form apanudyad. If it were a class 2 verb, which it's not, it would be apanudyat, but it's not. It's a class 6 verb. So as I said, expect to see apanudet. There it is. Let that remain a mystery until I can solve it. If we can't, it doesn't actually matter very much. It clearly is the optative form of that verb. So I will read it out for you once more, and with any final notes that I can think of before we wind up this video. I'll just go through it again, in English and explanation slowly. Nahi prapashyami, for I do not see. Sorry, let me call up the English. I do not see yet that which or what apanudyat or apanudet, I think it ought to be, what might drive away, what would be able to drive away. Mama shokam, mama, my shokam. This could equally have been put as shokam me. Mama is the full form of the genitive, and that can stand as an independent word. The alternative form of the genitive of aham, I, is a me, but that could only come after the end of another word. So you could say something that might drive away my grief. Yad apanudyan mamashokam, or yad apanudyat shokam me. You could say either, with no distinction of meaning. So nahi prapashyami, I do not see, yad, what, apanudyat, might drive away, mama, my, shokam, grief, and let's insert the and treat this uchoshanam as a noun, and the uchoshanam, the literally desiccation, the drying up, indriyanam, of the senses / faculties, powers. Avapya bhumau asapatnam riddham rajyam. Avapya, having obtained bhumau, on earth. And remember the au to av by Santi, bhumavasapatnam, having attained on earth, unrivaled, asapatnam riddham, prosperous. Incidentally, it's cognate with our English word rid and growth. And riddhi is an attainment and by extension a psychic power. And in Pali we have the iddhi, Sanskrit riddhi, Pali iddhi, and iddhi in Pali does refer to psychic powers. But here it just means prosperous and wealthy. But the basic meaning is to attain or get something, to be prosperous, to grow, to get. So, Avapya, having obtained Bhumau on earth, Asapatnam Riddham Rajyam, unequaled, unrivaled, prosperous kingship, Suranam Apicha, and even Adipatyam, overlordship, Suranam, of the Suras, so even overlordship over the Suras. So, one final read through now. Nahi prapashyami mama panudya jatshokamutshoshanamindriyanam avapya bhuma vasapatnam riddham rajyam suranam api chadipatyam. And that's it on this video.